everyone, it's your girl Brittany here, and welcome to BrittPositivePodcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope everyone is having a great day and are taking the time and finding the positive in it. Now, our Brit Positive quote of the day is, "What consumes your mind controls your life." So be careful what you think about, guys. To keep up with us here, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and you can listen to us on YouTube and Podbean. Now, if you're listening to us on YouTube, then you can click that subscribe button and notification button as well to get notified and to see when we have posted. And if you're listening to us on Podbean, then click that follow button to join the Brit Positive Fam Bam and download so you can listen on the go. I would like to introduce a good friend of mine, our guest co-host of the day, Alona.
Hey everyone.
I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Let's get into our topic of the day. Our topic of the day is how to stop negative thinking of self. So my question here is, why would someone have a negative thought about themselves? Like, where would it come from in the first place?
Yeah, I really like that question, Brittany. I think everyone at some point actually struggles with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost like a seed, right? I think it's a seed that takes root.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes over your mind. And before you know it, you don't even know actually that what you're believing is negative or it's not truth, right? Yeah, I think that it really
that can just cause somebody to become what they're thinking in that way.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly.
Because I mean, I know with negative thinking, it also can come from certain like unkind things that others have said about you, and then people start believing them, and it just like starts taking form in the person's behavior, or stereotypes in society where certain looks are not considered beautiful, or and this can come from just like social media where you have like magazines or Instagram and such, and you see people living their life a certain way, and if you look at your life and reflect and think, oh, I'm not doing that, that means I'm not successful, or things like that. It's like that whole comparison with another person can also cause negative self-thinking.
Yes,
so
that is so true.
So
I was just thinking, negative thinking could also come because we give ourselves too much pressure. Like I'm thinking like the new year has just started, and many of us, we have goals and we want to, whether it's to lose weight or to eat better or to whatever we have decided, because we haven't fulfilled those, and we become very hard on ourselves, right? And instead of going forward, we get stuck in that whole negative thinking pattern.
Right. Just even having those like ambitions or like goals we have, like you said, and then not achieving them can also bring a negative thinking, because we think if we don't get certain things, it's like we must not be worthy or whatever it may be, that can cause you to just think down upon yourself, which is not the case, you guys. It's I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think we have this perfection mentality and mindset here, and I think we have to let go of that, because like no one is perfect, And earlier on you spoke about the social media, and I think it kind of portrays perfection, but in reality we all stumble, we all struggle. So we need to learn to forgive ourselves and kind of lighten up, right?
Because sometimes too, I think what holds people back is like their past experience of failure, and they just take that as like a negative thought of themselves and just hold that in as their negative thing, and not even know, like some people just don't know when they're even being negative about themselves. Like it becomes them. And like that's what's even sad to me, is like not noticing like you are an amazing person, but like you are believing in that lie of not thinking you're not amazing.
It becomes actually their identity, right?
And that's like so sad when you think of it. It's like, what? But you are amazing. Like, how can you not see that? But it's like you're so unaware, which is the truth of it all. It's like you're just not aware of it, and this is why it's important, I think, for some people to take the time to really like. I know we're living in a very fast-paced life.
We are.
So it's like good to take that time to really just get good with your thoughts and what you think of yourself.
Yes, that's a very good point, Brittany. I think it's almost like saying, think what I'm thinking, right? Think what you're thinking. Because if you actually take the time to think about that thought, then you can ask yourself the questions, right? Is it a true thought? Is it a false thought? And then based on that, you can come up with a solution, to do right.
Because you're a very positive person. Since I've known you, you're so positive. But like, was there a time where you were not positive and you had some negative experience? Like, what did you do about that?
When I was at a much younger age, actually, I think I struggled for a while with negative thinking, and I think that came from actually not knowing who I am, right? I just kind of like, as you said, what you said earlier, like someone says something about you, and you start believing it, right? Without even thinking about you start believing it. So for me, what really helped me, I love reading books, and one of the I read the Bible, right? Yeah. And then I'm able to, like, something as simple as it says, like, about love, right? And we all God's children, we all loved by God, and just holding on to that and actually forming my identity around that. It really helps me to let go of negative thoughts.
Right. That's good. I think it's important too to really like work on that and like have things like that to help form your thinking of yourself, because when having negative thoughts about yourself, you can have symptoms of like feeling down, becoming depressed, or having anxiety. You can become antisocial. You don't want to be around people. All of a sudden you're it's a lot of you alone and just like keeping away from people because you think you're not good enough. You become mean to others. Some people, who are hurting, hurt people. The saying, hurt people, hurt people. So it's like to just avoid that lifestyle. And I'm sure everyone aspires to having a good life, that these are things you want to tackle so that you don't, in order to be positive for others, you need to be positive within yourself. So that means also loving yourself.
That is so true.
So you can, of course, love others, and
I think also like we live in a very a fast-paced culture, right?
Yeah.
And I think we our to-do list for the day is way too long, right?
Yeah.
We want to do 10 things instead of 5, and then if we only accomplish the 5 things, then we're hard on ourselves. We start thinking we're not good enough, right? We're not like so and so, But I think we need to really take stock and just be true to ourselves. And if we can't do the whole list, take it off and do it another day, and just be in the present, and just
the ideal, like you're not a model or anything. You're simply a human.
Yes.
So you just gotta look at that as just be yourself and nobody else.
Exactly.
And even with you talking about the fast pace, it's like we don't celebrate the little things.
We don't.
And we also have to look at within ourselves, like look at the positive things about yourself. Literally, there has to be one there.
And the beautiful thing is that we are all uniquely made, right?
Yes.
We are all different. You have gifts that I don't have, and I have gifts that you don't have,
right.
and I think when we learn to really embrace that and just actually be happy for the other person, right? So there's no jealousy, there's no wishing that I had, I think that's one of the things that actually causes us to be to have those negative feelings, because we haven't embraced our true self.
But then like that journey of looking for our true selves, it's like in order for you to understand or see who you are, you have to go through things. You have to go through challenges, and that will help form to show what you're made of and all those things. So when you look back on things that you went through that were hard, look at the fact that you got through it. That will just show that you're a strong person. And then you say that, you write that down, and
Yeah, I think we forget. We forget
what we get through.
We end up in a new situation, and we
start questioning our abilities all over again. It's like you should know you got through it.
You got through it, and it wouldn't be the same thing. But it is that's part of life, right? We have to grow, and it might, but you fall down, you get back up. Don't stay down and beat yourself up, right? You just try again.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that. Now, here are some suggestions for you guys to help turn from negative thinking into positive thinking of yourself, okay? So for one, read something that encourages you to think positive about yourself. So there could be readings that would be out there that can help, or even a podcast you can listen to on your way to work or school or so that has different ways of encouragement. These are just steps to help you, figure it out, to kind of like help start off that journey, because not everyone knows how to do it. You might say, be positive, and the person's like, how? I don't know. So that stuff would just kind of help guide you in how to do it, how to shape or warp your thinking. But then there's also people who here's a question, like if there's people who have too much negative thoughts and they try this, like what is another alternative to help them with? Because if in case it starts happening and they just have no control over it, what is something would they do about that?
Let's see. I think sometimes, I know earlier on we said that everyone struggles with negative thoughts, right? But I think sometimes we actually need help if we find that we're doing all that we said above, and yet we can't shrug it off, right? I think there might be a time when we have to actually seek help, right, from a professional.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to give an example. Like, you know, in my own life, like I'm generally a very positive person.
Right.
I remember after having my third child, I was just having negative thoughts, and I know that wasn't me, right? So initially, I think we're so concerned about what people think. Initially, you have that fear to really share that with someone. But what I did, I went to my doctor and I said, like, this is what's happening, you know, and she was able to point out that I have postpartum depression, right? So, and because that just took a weight off, because I realized, oh, okay, this is, you know, and
so sometimes it's not the person,
it's
like
not,
themselves.
you have no control.
It can be a whole mental health issue.
Exactly.
It's like that's also why you should take the time to see where it's coming from, because then it can be someone with depression or anxiety, and it's like not really you, but just how your mind was warped.
And I mean, we live in a very stressed, right? This
society's not easy.
There's stress everywhere we turn, you know. But I think we have to be true to ourselves. And if we find that we are struggling in that area, you know, find a trusted person to talk to. You know, you find that you're a parent, a teacher, and you know, if you're a person that goes to church, you talk to your pastor, you know. So I think we have to just stop and really
take that moment to like pay attention to our mind.
Exactly. And pay attention to our mind.
You know, kind of process what we're thinking and not just allow it to happen and accept it, you know.
You know what, actually that's so true, because you know what, I think it's so funny how I don't know if it ever happened to you, you're thinking about something, say something bad is going to happen, but it's not true. And you actually, your mind has gone so far that you reach a process of crying, and you're
just like, what am I
crying about? Like, this is just my imagination. My mind has taken me down that path.
You can be in a situation, nothing's happening, and you're just freaking out. And like I've had moments where I'll be like, why am I stressing? Like, I need to just calm down.
It hasn't happened yet, right? Just take, So I think that's, and it goes back to think what you're thinking.
I know too many people who told me, like, they'll have freak out moments, and it's like nothing. No one, you didn't get punched, nothing. Like, no one shot at you. Like, I'm just thinking of the worst scenarios. And yet none of that happened, and you're freaking out. It
shows how powerful your mind is and your thought, because I mean, even thinking, like, sometimes we just, we think about, like, say something yummy, and then all of a sudden you feel like you want to eat it, right? But it's like it's just like your mind is already gone there. Then I suppose it becomes something that you want, right?
Like, so earlier she mentioned pizza for dinner, and I called my mom saying, "Yeah, we're gonna get pizza for dinner." But like, you see what the mind does? Like, that's your example. It takes you away. So it's what we're emphasizing here is really take control of your mind, take control, and, you know, make sure you take that time to really focus on what you want and what you want to become, and just know it takes time to get there, but you will get there. And another tip we have is have friends who speak positive things around you and not negative. So that's with good. That, it's like, you know, maybe unconsciously you might be around friends who are a bit negative, not even to you, but about themselves, and that in its way can kind of just simmer in your mind and just kind of like make you start thinking, you know, those kind of things, and it's not good for you as a person who may not want to be thinking that way of yourself. So it's like, kind of be careful of, you know. Yeah,
it's true, because I know like for like my kids or at school, right? Like everybody might say, I don't like French, right? And all of a sudden you sort of say, I don't like French, right? But it's not, you didn't even give it a try. But because everybody around you is saying they don't like French, all of a sudden you don't like French, right?
And my mom would always like bring stuff up, like, you know, if your friends jump off the bridge with you, and I'm like, okay, no. But then you really got to look at it and be like, I'm not going to just do what everyone else is doing. Do it, you know, or think of what everyone else is thinking, you know, make sure it's coming from you, like making sure like you're forming your opinion and you're forming your own personal perspective of yourself and not following everybody. You know? I have another suggestion, which is write 1 to 5 things or more. If you find a bunch of positive things about yourself, that is wonderful. So you just write them and read them out loud. I think just saying them out loud as well in the atmosphere is like bringing that positivity in, because I feel like the tongue is such a powerful thing. It is.
And I think that's really good, because I think the same way we can think negative by hearing negative. I think if we talk, if we speak it out, right, it's truth. Then you start believing it, right, and it becomes who you are, right. So I think it's very important. You can
just like how the negative thing becomes who the person is. It's like the positive can definitely become that too, guys. Positive outweighs the negative any day. So just bring that in your atmosphere and reject the negative, okay? And even so, to help reject that negative, you can write down the negative on a piece of paper as well and throw that away. Literally rip it up, burn it, drown it, flush it down the toilet. It's just you releasing that, saying that is not me, and I refuse to accept that as me, you know.
And I'm thinking too, even if you have something that's negative, sometimes we can just work on it, right? So we don't have to be so hard on ourselves, right? We can work on that thing that we probably think is negative and turn it into a positive, but it takes like one step at a time. Sometimes we want to go again too fast, just take your time and do one thing a day, one step at a time,
because it can't happen overnight.
It can't happen overnight.
But and you know what, that's fine. The thoughts will still come. It's like you might not think positive, you might not think negative today, but tomorrow something might happen in your day, and then you just immediately go back to what you were used to doing,
So that's like being thankful, right? I think sometimes we forget everything is so easy for us, so sometimes we don't even see the blessings right in front of us,
right?
And I think it's so important to stop and be thankful, right? And I know in Canada here it's so cold, and it's easy for us to complain and get negative, but actually the snow is quite beautiful if you take the time to look, even in the storm.
Well, I mean, there's people who like snow. I'm not gonna give them that, but snow's great.
I'm just saying, even if you don't, you can just find the beauty and be thankful and look around for the small things and the blessings that we take for granted, and if we really pay attention, we'll actually realize that we are less thinking negatively, because we're actually looking for the positive in things, in life, in people.
And that kind of just goes with just making sure you take that time. And it's work, you guys.
It is work.
It is not something that it's like you have a natural gift in. It's like you have to work on developing that gift, which is just see the positive in things. And even in situations, you might have a bad day and the negative thoughts might try to come. You have to now put your mind at work and saying and rejecting those things, and even taking the time to write down the positive in that day. Write down the positive that you did in that day, make it a task where it's like, today I'm going to be positive. Today I'm going to, make sure I'm positive and kind to someone,
Yeah, and I think we have to live in the present, right? Because if we live in the present, we won't be so, the past wouldn't have to affect us in that negative way.
Right.
And then the future, because we're trying to, even though we're in the present, we're always trying to think about the future, which we have no control of, and then we become negative, thinking, oh my gosh, I'll never pass the exam, I'll never do this, I'll never achieve that. But if we just live in today, that's all we have is today, then we'll have a more positive attitude on life,
and your behavior will change too. So it's like you won't see where studying for an exam will be as miserable as you may think, because you just look at it as, I'm just learning, and whatever I don't understand now, I'll eventually learn it. Don't pace yourself. Always pace yourself, because I think we're always trying to push ourselves to having it all in 1 minute, and it's like we're just not wired that way. If you're good at running but not good at math, that's okay. You can still learn and try to do well in math. It's not impossible for you not to understand the formula or so on. And it's just, you have to accept that you may have weaknesses, but you can work on them. The fact that there is that availability of change, just know it can change.
And you know what? Sometimes we have to just embrace our weakness, because we. Like as Brittany was saying, like you want to be good in math, one person good in English. I think it's okay. I think we have to just lighten up a bit, and not lighten up a bit and not try to be so this perfectionism. I think it's not real.
That's what causes us to really look down on ourselves when we're not when we're not reaching certain levels that society or people may be putting out there for us to say that we are good enough or so on. Make your own level, make your own expectation of yourself, because then it's what suits you, because we're all different. We're all going to go through a similar or different journey, but it's going to be a different ending for each and every one of us. So I think that's really important for you guys to keep in mind when any thoughts of negativity comes. Like, remember, you're doing you, and that's all you can really do.
Exactly. I love that. You alone can do you. Right? So do you, and let somebody else do themselves, and let's encourage each other and rally for each other, and just be positive.
I like that. So on that note, thank you, Alona, for coming.
It was a pleasure, Brittany. Thank you.
You're welcome anytime. So guys, stay tuned. She might come back. And remember, you are beautifully and wonderfully made, and you are God's masterpiece. And do not forget that, okay? Thank you guys for listening on this podcast. Remember to follow us on social media platforms that are in the links down below, Instagram and Twitter. And you can listen to this podcast on Podbean and YouTube. We'll be posting every Tuesday. So let's continue to spread the positivity together, guys. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.